So initially, I just thought this story was weird, right? Why would Mike Perry go off on Dana White? And then I watched his rant about Dana, and I literally laughed out loud. And I went and told Gabrielle, because she was in the shower, we were at a hotel, and I was like, listen to this, dude. I was like, you want to hear why Mike Perry is furious at Dana? And I told her, and she's like, so I'm going to show you, and then we're going to talk about it, because I feel like there was a miscommunication. And then I also think that maybe I know actually, I don't know anything. I'm going to hypothesize about why I think Mike might actually be angry at Dana, because this makes no sense, what he says. But anyway, let's listen to it, and then we're going to talk about it. Go, Mike, hit it.
You know, it's funny because they make everybody look the same now, and they want to be an NFL, NBA of combat sports, but they don't fucking act like it. They're still fucking rude, disrespectful, rich assholes who don't give a fuck about these fighters or anyone who fucking puts their life on the line to do this shit. But then they'll turn around and say, oh, God bless him, he's putting his life on the line. These fucking fighters, they'll stand up against the media, and they'll be like, you know what these fucking fighters go through, but at the same time, they're the ones fucking trying to make them kill themselves for this shit, and then they get, you know, wherever their fucking head's at, it's like a whim. Like, the first thing that comes to their fucking head, if he's pissed in that moment, he's like, I don't give a fuck. How about that? I don't give a fucking fuck. How about that? It's fucking childish.
That's my favorite thing about Dana, actually.
The richest fucking guy, most popular, most famous fucking guy of all time is childish. Fuck the bullshit. If I really feel some fucking type of way about it, I mean, I feel you, like, Dana. Like, I don't give a fuck either. I could care less. I could care less about the media passes because you don't want me to ask the fucking questions that I want to fucking ask, because you don't want to text me back anymore because you're fucking salty that I called your ass and you picked up on the second ring. And what'd you call me? Well, I didn't fucking feel salty that you were like, what's up, you lunatic? Hi, I'm a fucking human being. I'm a fucking person too. I don't walk around with security all fucking day to protect my fucking nutsack. I am the security.
Okay, so listen, don't get me wrong. Dude, Mike Perry is amazing for the industry. I love him in BKFC. I think I've never rooted against Mike Perry ever. Now, that said, I have to make fun of this. I can't help myself. I just can't help myself. I can't help myself. But I can thank the sponsor of this video, Yo Kratom. That is where I get my bulk kratom, $60 kilograms. You will never find it cheaper or better with more reliable delivery service, yokratom.com. Give him a look today. I can't help myself. Okay, so number one, what he said was he thinks it's childish that Dana says he doesn't give a, he does. I really don't want to have to go through and edit this, so I'm going to try not to swear, but I think I'm going to fail. He doesn't give an F, man. He doesn't give an F, and that's childish. It's like, well, I mean, is it though? I mean, really, the way I see it, and this is obviously not the important part of this, but the way I see it is, why do they call it FU money? Like, oh, that guy's got FU money. It's because they get to say FU to whoever they want. Like, that is literally what FU money is supposed to be. Okay? Dana has FU money, and he says FU to anyone that he wants. That is what he actually does it. Okay? Most people who get to that status, they start being like, well, I think I need to carry myself like a person who has $750 million. I think I need to start presenting a more dignified front. Dana's like, I am literally, this is who I am. You want to know what the dignified front was? Was when I was first starting the company and we were trying to get mainstream acceptance or whatever. He's like, now? Shit. Now I have FU money, and so now I get to say FU. I love it. I love it more than anything. Dude, I'm not going to be able to get through this without swearing. He said Bob Arum is a fucking piece of shit in an ESPN press conference. That's not awesome. That's the reason Mike Perry doesn't like him. Give me a break, dude. That doesn't even make sense. So he's mad about something else, right? So the thing about he doesn't care about the fighters thing. He doesn't care about whatever. It's like, I don't know. That seems like a pretty tired argument at this point. You really think Dana doesn't care about the fighters? I don't even know Dana, and I have heard so many stories about Dana personally, because you have the UFC, which is a company, okay? Dana is not the UFC. Oh, yes, he is, because he makes all the decisions. Right. But that doesn't mean that he is he is making decisions as the chief executive of that organization, okay? So he has to make those decisions from the perspective of delivering on what his job is. And if there's any ambiguity about that for people, that is to deliver value to the shareholders. That is his job, okay? If you work at McDonald's at the register, your job is to punch in what people want to eat, take their money, give them their change. That is what your job is. If you work at, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, you come in, you tell somebody what's wrong with their leg, and then you surgically repair it and give them a new knee. Okay, that's your job. If you're a viewer of Jesse on Fire on YouTube, then your job is to subscribe to the channel and like this video and then comment what you think about what Mike Perry said. That's your job. Dana's job is to maximize value for the shareholders of UFC. That is his job. He does not own UFC outright. He owns, like, if I remember correctly, he used to own 10%. I think they bought him out, and then now he has either 5 or 7% of the new company. Is that a majority position? He owes the decisions to the other 95% of the company, or 93, whatever it is. So to say like, oh, well, he isn't paying these guys more, so he doesn't give an F about the fighters, that's just not the way the world works. Okay? He doesn't get, I think somebody said he makes $25 million a year or something like that as the CEO of the UFC, which in all honesty is probably, he's probably getting, like, that's probably a steal for the organization. Maybe. I don't know what he makes. But you think that he makes that just to stand there and do pressers? Like, their job is to keep fighter pay at a manageable level and not let shit get out of control to where they're overpaying everybody. And then, dude, they just opened a PI in Mexico. Like, that's what I hear when I hear these things. It's like, oh, they opened a PI in Mexico. Oh, and they run this program over there to develop Mexican talent. Oh, and then they're going to do this and this. Do you have any idea how much this stuff costs? They're trying to make the sport global. As the sport gets bigger, people will get paid more. That is a legitimate thing. But also, I am not saying that people should not fight to get paid more at all. But I'm saying to act like Dana does not give an F about the fighters because, like, he's not paying them enough or whatever is ignorant of how the world actually works when you're running a business. Just bottom line. Because what I'm talking about is I've heard about stuff Dana personally does, which goes way above and beyond where, I'm not going to like betray confidence about stories that I've heard, but like I've heard enough to know that this is a very, 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 very consistent thing with his personality. He takes care of guys. Now I want to watch this part again because I think this shows two things. A, why he's probably still mad, and then two, the funniest thing ever, because I think he might have misinterpreted something else. Anyway, all right, so let me just watch this part again.
Well, I didn't fucking feel salty that you were like, what's up, you lunatic? Hi, I'm a fucking human being. I'm a fucking person too.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the second part, which is the part that, yes, I am definitely laughing. I'm laughing at Mike Perry on this one only because, dude, him answering the phone and saying, what's up, you lunatic, is him, like he thinks of you as like a good enough friend that he would pick up the phone and be like, what's up, you lunatic? Like he meant, that's him telling you he loves you, dude. And that's why, and I think Mike probably knows that, which is why I think there's something else going on, and I think I know what it is. Well, at least I'm going to hypothesize about what it is. But that is the part that I showed Gabrielle, where I was like, look at why he's mad. He's all, you pick up the phone and you're like, what's up, you lunatic? I didn't take that personal. I'm a human being. It's like, well, all lunatics are human beings. But Dana, if Dana calls me a lunatic in picking up the phone, I'm like, oh, he really likes me. Like if I go, what's up, motherfucker? That means I like you. Like that means I really like you because I know you can take it. He that's a term of endearment, 100% in the way that, if Dana, come on. But here's what I think is really going on. So you guys remember this whole thing with BKFC, right? So, Feldman went and met with Dana. It was very murky what was going on. It was like, oh yeah, like Feldman's like, yeah, it's just about mentorship and building a relationship. No, that's not a thing. Why on earth would Dana mentor a person running an organization who states that their goal is to become the biggest combat sports organization in the world, which is what the UFC is? Like, it's like, my number one goal, thing I've been driving towards all my life has been to have sex with Dana's wife and then kidnap his oldest child and turn him trans. That's my goal. Dana's I want to mentor this guy. I really want to help him out. I want this guy to achieve all of his goals. UFC's his baby. You're saying you want to dirty up his baby and beat his baby because your baby is going to be like, come on, dude. Of course he's not going to mentor you. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. None. So I knew that was nonsense. My hypothesis was that Dana was talking to them about potentially buying the company or investing in the company or whatever, right? I still stand by that, most likely being the case. But then you had Mike Perry come out and do the podcast where he said that he had heard that Dana made a $200 million offer to buy BKFC, which was lowball, and Feldman rejected it. And I saw that, and I was like, okay. And then Mike is like, I heard this third hand from this dude, who might have been drunk. I don't know. Like, the source wasn't that strong, but I did hear that. And I'm like, huh. So let's say that I was like a little bit less experienced in this game and I was trying to figure out a way to generate interest in the company that I am attempting to raise money for. I might want to leak a story. I might get get a photo with me and Dana talking. And then if I figured out that, they're probably not going to invest or whatever I was after isn't going to happen, then what I would want to do with that is I would want to get a story out that made it sound like the UFC made an acquisition proposal that was more than the pre-money value that I was trying to raise money at. I don't need to get into the structure of all that. But how do I do that? Because Dana forbid me to reveal anything about the meeting. Plus, this is not true. And so how do I get that out there to generate interest in the investment opportunity while simultaneously not poisoning my relationship with Dana? Maybe I could have Mike Perry do it. But where would Mike Perry have heard it? He couldn't have heard it from me. So I don't know. Say you heard it third hand or something, but just make sure you get it out there. And hypothetically, if that's what happened, Dana would see through that in 0.1 second. But also, the second that Mike Perry does that, okay, soon as Mike Perry does that, you think if I sniff that out, you think Dana doesn't sniff? You think Dana didn't sniff that out? That it's like, all right, like you definitely didn't hear that. So why are you saying that? But or maybe he's just like, let's just say that Mike Perry really did hear that. But if I'm Dana and I see him do that, then that's where my brain goes. I'm like, oh, he's trying to work an angle with Feldman, whether that's true or not, right? But here is why I think this whole thing may have also potentially have been going on, is I think maybe they were trying to set up a fight between that Mike Perry would come and fight at UFC 300, maybe, right? And so they were maybe like discussing, maybe, I still think it's probably the acquisition, but what would also line up with this is like if they were trying to get Mike Perry onto UFC 300 for some reason, or like do some kind of crossover fight or something like that, right? Now, also, again, let's say that was the topic which opened the conversation because BKFC has Mike under contract now. So Feldman uses the fact that he has Mike Perry under contract to do this meeting with Dana, uses the fact that maybe he might want to do a crossover with Mike Perry for UFC 300. And what he's really doing is he is trying to see under the hood and see if there's an opportunity to buy the company, because there's no other reason why Dana would actually meet with BKFC under any circumstances as far as I'm concerned. So even if he pretends that it's because they're, maybe we'll do a crossover fight, what he's actually doing is investigating the company to see if he could either invest or acquire. And Feldman is like, oh yeah, okay, we'll talk about this crossover fight, but maybe I might be able to invest, get investment money, or maybe they'll want to buy it. So everybody's playing this whole game, but Mike Perry's in the middle kind of like, all right, so am I going to get to do this crossover fight, or like, what's going on, man? Like, he might have thought that he was going to get to do this crossover fight, which is why he would be blowing up Dana, and Dana's now not picking up, because now once he went public with that story about, oh, Dana made a $200 million offer, now Mike Perry's on the inside of like a game that a competitor is playing. And so, yeah, Dana's like, well, we weren't really going to do a crossover fight unless we bought the company. And yeah, you guys are putting out fake stories trying to inflate the value of your company. And yeah, no, I mean, I love you, but now you have stepped out of fighter role now. Now you have gotten involved in the game. Now you're in this game, the game. And, I'm sure Dana loves Mike Perry, dude. How would anyone not like him? But just so Mike Perry understands, if that was what they had discussed, you potentially doing some kind of crossover fight or whatever, that would have been a ploy on both sides of the bosses to discuss whether or not Dana or the UFC or Endeavor would invest into BKFC or potentially buy BKFC. And I could say that pretty confidently, because it doesn't make sense. Otherwise, Dana is never going to put a fighter into the octagon that he does not have under contract, barring it being Jake Gyllenhaal or something. Or so, I don't know, like some fighter where maybe like he's not there. It will not happen, dude. Buys BKFC, then maybe it would. But also, this would be a bad time to buy BKFC because of the class action lawsuit where they're stating that they always buy up all the competition. So